They gave my childhood room to my cousin, while I was still living in it. No warning. No explanation. Just a text from my mom: "Since you're never around, we've decided it's better if Ryan stays in your room now." That was the moment I realized I wasn't just unwanted, I was invisible in my own house. If this already shocked you, trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a twist like this again. I was Olivia, the quiet, overlooked girl in a loud, selfish family. No matter what I did, I was always too much or not enough. My cousin Ryan? He was the golden boy. Always praised, always first. He got suspended from college twice, and they still acted like he walked on water. I worked 2 jobs while studying full-time, and they said I was wasting my youth. That week, I came home from campus to find my stuff boxed up and pushed into the garage. Ryan was already sprawled across my bed, playing Xbox like he owned the place. My name wasn't even on the bedroom door anymore. I just stood there, frozen. When I asked my mom what was going on, she rolled her eyes. "You're barely here anyway. Ryan needs space to focus on his future. You understand, right?" That word, understand, stabbed deeper than anything else. I understood, all right. I understood that to them, I was a placeholder. Disposable. So I smiled. I didn't fight. I just packed my bags, left the garage exactly how they dumped it, and walked out. Not just from the house, from the whole damn chapter of my life. But I wasn't angry. I was focused. For the next 3 years, I disappeared from every family gathering. No calls. No birthdays. Nothing. What they didn't know was I was building something. Quietly. Ruthlessly. While they laughed at me behind closed doors, I was pouring everything into learning real estate flipping. I lived in my car for 5 months to avoid rent. $8 noodles. Worked nights cleaning offices. But every cent I saved, I invested, and soon, I got my first small win, a rundown duplex no one wanted. I flipped it. Sold it. Then bought another. And another. The girl they shoved into the garage was now signing checks bigger than their annual income, but they had no idea, until I saw something listed online. And nearly laughed out loud. My family's house was up for sale, the one I grew up in. The same one they kicked me out of, and just like that, everything clicked. I put in a cash offer. Way above asking. No contingencies. I didn't even need a tour. I knew every floorboard, every creak, every inch. The house was mine within a week, but I wasn't done yet. Next? I walked right back through the front door they once locked behind me, but not as Olivia the nobody. I came back as the new owner. The day I walked back into that house, my mom was setting the table for dinner, like it was just another ordinary night. She glanced up, confused. "Olivia? What are you doing here?" I smiled calmly. "Didn't you get the letter from the realtor?" The new owner wanted to deliver the message personally. Her face froze. "What message?" I handed her the envelope. Inside was a formal eviction notice. She read it once, then again. Her hands started to tremble. "No. This must be some mistake." Ryan stormed out of my old room, now wearing my old hoodie. "Yo, what's the drama?" "She doesn't live here anymore." I turned to him slowly. "You're right. I don't live here. I own here." For a second, it was silent. Then chaos broke loose. My father burst in from the backyard. "This is a joke, right? You don't just buy a house like this." "Apparently you do," I replied, dropping the keys on the kitchen counter. "Cash offer. No mortgage. Closed last week." They couldn't wrap their heads around it. Olivia, the girl they boxed into a garage, had returned as their landlord. "Where did you get that kind of money?" my dad barked. I tilted my head. "From the time you called me just a waitress, I was learning how to buy the restaurant. And then some." My mom was pacing now, panic spreading like wildfire. "We've lived here for 20 years, Olivia. This is our home." I shrugged. "Should have thought of that before you gave my bed away." Ryan tried to laugh it off. "Okay, you made your point. What now? You gonna kick us all out?" I looked at him. Hard. "You took my room. Now I'm taking the whole damn house." I gave them 30 days to vacate. Generous, really. More than they gave me, but the news spread fast. Relatives began calling. Some begged me to reconsider. Others accused me of being cold and cruel. But where were they when I was sleeping? In my car? Where was their sympathy when I had nowhere to go? That night, I stood alone in the hallway, the same hallway where I used to tiptoe past family arguments, where I cried myself to sleep more times than I could count. Now, I was the one turning off the lights, but the real twist wasn't just the eviction. That it was what I found hidden in the attic. Something they never meant for me to see, something that changed everything I thought I knew about my family. The attic door creaked open like it hadn't been touched in years. I wasn't even planning to go up there. I just wanted to see how much cleaning would be needed before I rented the place out. But the moment I climbed the ladder and switched on the light, my breath caught. In the corner, half covered in dust and old blankets, was a beat-up storage trunk, the same one I remembered from childhood. My mom used to say it was filled with junk we don't need. But when I opened it, it wasn't junk. It was a box full of my life, old school certificates, trophies, childhood drawings, even acceptance letters from colleges I never knew I got into. Some of them were unopened. They'd hidden them from me. I found a scholarship letter from a university in New York, fully funded. Full ride. A dream. I would have gone. I would have left this place years earlier. But they never told me, they kept it all from me. Suddenly, so many things made sense. Why my mom always insisted on me going to community college, just to stay close. Why she pushed me to work instead of dream. Why Ryan always got the praise and I got the pressure. They chose to clip my wings, and I had no idea. I sat on the attic floor, surrounded by proof that my entire life had been quietly sabotaged. Not by enemies, by the people who were supposed to love me. I thought I'd already won by buying the house. I thought the revenge was done, but this changed everything. They hadn't just taken my room. They'd stolen my future, and suddenly, eviction felt too easy. Downstairs, they were still in denial. Pretending the notice wasn't real. That maybe I'd change my mind. That maybe someone would swoop in and save them, but I had a new plan. The next morning, I called a moving truck, not for them, for me. I was going to move in for the next 30 days. Right into my old room. The same one Ryan tried to claim. When I walked in with my bags, he stood there, stunned. You can't be serious. I dropped my suitcase on the bed. Oh, I'm staying. After all, this is my house. You're just a guest. For now. He glared at me. This is petty. No, I smiled. This is called consequences. But even that wasn't the final blow, because what they didn't know was that I'd invited someone to dinner, someone who knew all their secrets. Someone from the past. Who had been pushed away, just like me, and what he was about to reveal at the dinner table would destroy their perfect little world. The doorbell rang right as my dad was pouring himself a drink. Don't answer that, he muttered, annoyed. We're not expecting anyone. But I was already halfway to the door, heart pounding, because I knew exactly who was standing on the other side. I swung it open, and there he was, Uncle James, the black sheep of the family. The one they never talked about. The one they claimed ran off with bad people and couldn't be trusted. But none of that was true. He was the only one who ever encouraged me growing up. The only one who told me I was smart, capable, worth more than they made me believe. When I was 15, he promised to help pay for college, then suddenly disappeared. I never knew why. Until now. He stepped inside, older, grayer, but his eyes locked on my dad with quiet fire. I heard the house is under new ownership, he said calmly. My mom's face went pale. What are you doing here, James? I motioned to the dinner table. Actually, I invited him. I figured it's time we talk about the past. Since we're all under one roof, again. Everyone sat down, reluctantly. You could slice the tension with a knife. Then Uncle James placed an envelope on the table. This, he said, is the trust fund Grandma left for Olivia, $250,000. Meant to go to her the day she turned 18. My hands shook. What are you talking about? He looked at me gently. Your grandmother left it for your education, your future, everything. She told me to hand-deliver it. But before I could, your parents intervened. They told everyone I was unstable. They shut me out. I didn't even know if you got her letters. My mom's voice cracked. That money was used for the family. We were struggling. We had to make decisions. You stole her future, James snapped. You didn't struggle. You lied. You manipulated. You buried her opportunities and gave them to him, he said, pointing at Ryan. Ryan jumped up. I didn't ask for anything. No, I said quietly. But you took everything anyway. Tears welled in my eyes, not just because of the money, but because of the years I lost believing I was never good enough. All because they decided my future wasn't worth protecting. Uncle James pushed the envelope toward me. There's still some left. It's yours. I kept it safe all these years, hoping you'd find your way back. I couldn't breathe. All this time, I thought I was alone. But I wasn't. I was just buried under their lies. My dad stood up, furious. This is a setup. You think you can just walk in here, wave a check, and act like some hero? I stood up too. Calm, steady, powerful. No. I don't need a hero. I became my own. And right then, I told them the final piece of my plan. I'm not just evicting you. I'm turning this house into a women's shelter. For girls like me, who get kicked out, ignored, and erased. This place will finally be a home for someone who deserves it. You could hear a pin drop, and then my mom whispered, "You wouldn't?" "I already signed the papers," I said. "You have 2 weeks left." But as they sat there, stunned and speechless, I knew there was still one last secret they had hidden. Something even Uncle James hadn't told me, and it was buried in my grandmother's old room, waiting. I walked slowly into my grandmother's old room, the only place in the house that still smelled like peace. She died when I was 16, but she was the only one who made me feel safe in this house. After her, everything fell apart. As I opened her closet, something shifted. A faint metallic clink. I reached behind the old dresses and pulled out a rusted tin box taped to the back wall. Inside it, a journal, her handwriting. Faded. Shaky. But still full of fire. I flipped through the pages, and then my heart dropped. It wasn't just a diary. It was a confession. She had written everything down. How my parents had manipulated her while she was sick. How they pressured her to change. The will. How they convinced her that I didn't care, that I was too selfish and unfocused to handle responsibility. She wrote, "If Olivia ever reads this, know that you were always my choice. I'm sorry I let them take that from you." My fingers tightened around the book. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a theft of love, of trust, of truth. And they buried it like it never happened. I walked back to the dining room, holding the journal. My mom looked at it and went pale. "Where did you find that?" I didn't say a word. I just opened it and read out loud, each word cut deeper than the last. By the time I finished the entry, no one could look me in the eye. "This isn't just about a house," I said, my voice low and steady. "This is about what you tried to erase. But I remember now. And I'm done letting you write my story." My dad stood up, broken and red-faced. "We did what we thought was right." "No," I said. "You did what was convenient." 2 weeks later, they were gone. Ryan left angry. My mom begged until the very last moment. My dad never spoke a word as he walked out, carrying a box of trophies he never earned, and me, I stood in the front yard, watching the sun rise over the house that had once been my prison. And now as my platform. The renovations began the next day. I tore down the wall to my old room and built a new space, brighter, stronger, open. Girls started arriving weeks later. Each one with a story like mine. Each one finally safe. People called me cold, ruthless, vengeful maybe, but they forgot one thing. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free, and the house they tried to bury me in became the place I used to rebuild lives, starting with my own.